Hips on your heels, forehead to the mat. If you wish, you could have your arms out long in front of you with your palms facing down and your knees spread apart. Or maybe you choose to have your knees together with your arms back by your sides, palms facing up. Whatever shape you've chosen to be in today, just make sure that you're actually comfortable in it. Maybe you begin to settle in. Start to just watch your breath. And as always, we'll begin class with our unique Yoga to the People collective vibrational breaths. So begin by exhaling all your air out, SH. Take a big belly inhale, fill your tummy, become really, really full. Then exhale, let it go, HA. Take a comfortable inhale. And then exhale, HM. If you're new to this practice, if you're new to Yoga to the People, then I encourage you to try these vibrational breaths just once. And then if you don't like it, you never have to do it again. And remember that you don't have to wait for me to cue these breaths. You can take them whenever you feel like you just need to come back to your breath. Maybe you just feel like you need to add some texture to your breath. Feel free to take them. And then we'll slowly start to add movement to our child's pose. Rolling the forehead side to side on the mat, maybe massaging out your third eye. Maybe you crawl your fingertips really, really far forward towards the front edge of the mat. So far forward that your wrist and your elbows begin to peel off the mat. And then again, take a deep inhale. Become really full. Feel your spine, the sides of your body, and your shoulders stretch. With your exhale, feel your hips becoming a little bit closer to your heels. Nice. Now on your next inhale, send your hips high, heels low. Come into your first downward facing dog-ish thing. So this is probably the first time that you're going upside down today, the first time that you're in this shape today. So start by maybe pedaling out the feet and just exploring movement here. Don't worry too much about what it looks like. We haven't really put a label on it yet. It's just us waking up the body, sort of noticing how we feel today. And then slowly we'll clean it up together. So now take a look in between your hands. Place them about shoulder width distance. So this is almost as if a dollar bill could fit in between your thumbs. Then take a look at your feet. Place them about hips width distance. So this is almost as if the crown of your head could fit in between your feet. Now bend your knees. Send your belly towards your thighs, tailbone up towards the sky. Keep your spine here. Keep it elongated, and then slowly start to straighten out the legs. Maybe the heels come a little bit closer towards the ground. That part doesn't really matter here. What matters is that we keep a really long, straight spine. Really nice, everyone. Now on your next inhale, raise the right leg up and back. Flex the foot towards the back wall. Really reach back almost as if you were going to stand in the back of the room or the back of the backyard or wherever you are. Then take an inhale, raise your right heel up, up, up towards the ceiling or the sky. And then exhale, bend the knee, roll the hip open towards the side. And again, we're just taking a second to explore movement here. So maybe you make really big circles. Maybe you make really small circles. Maybe you try to kick your butt. Do whatever feels good here, whatever your body is calling for. Maybe you flip your dog if you don't live in New York City and you have enough space to do that. And slowly come back through center. Reach that right leg up and back, And then exhale, bring it back down to the mat. Now the left side, inhale, left leg up and back. Really reach the back heel towards the back of the room, almost as if you were sort of trying to elongate your spine by dragging your hips up and back. Then inhale, raise the left heel up, up, up. And then exhale, bend the knee, roll the hip open towards the side. And again, maybe you take the same movements here, or maybe you do something completely different. That's totally normal because left and right side body will never feel exactly the same. Whenever you're done moving on this side, inhale, reach that left leg long and back. And exhale, bring it back down to your mat. Maybe you take a second to pedal out the feet again, notice what it feels like to be here. And then inhale, take a look in between your feet. Take tiny, tiny little steps. Come towards the front of your mat. Then hang heavy in a forward fold. So for this first forward fold, we're just going to decompress the spine a little bit. We'll work on the hamstrings a lot later. So bend your knees a lot so that your belly can hang onto your thighs. Maybe you drop your head so that your forehead comes closer towards your shin. And then again here, maybe you take time to explore some free movement. So grab the elbows, rock side to side, maybe interlace your fingers at the base of your neck. It's almost as if this added weight brings you closer down. Then take an inhale, half lift. Reset your spine. So reach through the crown of head. Keep a flat back, and you can place your hands either on your thighs or your shins, but avoid placing them on your knees because they don't bend that way. And then exhale, let it go forward. On your next inhale, come all the way up, really, really slowly, to standing in your mountain pose. So biceps by the ears. Pinkies face one another so that you can relax your shoulder blades down the back. And then maybe you take a second to close your eyes here because you stand on your own 2 feet like this every day. So now just take a second to notice what it feels like to really stand on your 2 feet. Root down through your heels. Tuck your tailbone in so that you can become the tallest version of yourself. And if your eyes are closed, flutter them open. Inhale to reach up and then start to maybe go back. Take a mini back bend. Then exhale, come back down, forward fold. Nice. Then this time we'll come up a little bit more swiftly. So on your inhale, you rise, go back into your back bend. And then exhale, come back down, forward folds. And we'll take one more mountain pose into back bend, one breath, one movement. So use your inhales to rise and your exhales to come back down. We'll meet in a forward fold. So once you're in your forward fold, reset your spine. Inhale, half lift, chin away from chest. Then exhale, place your palms down to your mat, step back into an upper push-up plank, and then pause here. We're gonna build our flow. But before we do that, we're gonna build a strong upper push-up plank. So if your back is sinking, then feel free to put your knees onto the ground. That's totally fine, you're still doing the work. If not, keep your knees lifted off the mat. Create one strong straight line with your body from your head towards your toes, so don't drop your head. Then inhale to push the mat away. Exhale, lower halfway down, elbows in by your ribs. Pause here. And then inhale, upward facing dog, tops of feet on the mat. Lead with your heart. Thighs and knees lifted off the mat here. And then exhale, send your hips high, heels low, downward facing dog. And that's the flow of the class. We'll take it about 28 more times today during this class, and every time you can probably use it to learn something new about yourself. Take an inhale, raise the right leg up and back. Exhale, step it through in between your hands, dial the back foot down, and then rise up into your warrior one. So stack the front knee directly over the front ankle. The back heel is at a 45-degree angle, and then you want to square your hips off towards the front of the room. So bump left hip forward, right hip a little bit back. Nice. And then from the waist up, it's mountain pose. Try to tuck that tailbone in so that you can become the tallest version of yourself. Biceps by the ears, pinkies in towards one another. And now that we've made all those little micro adjustments, see if maybe you can just close your eyes. See if maybe you can just let your warrior one be just that, your warrior one. Really nice. And then take an inhale, reach up, look back. Then exhale, bring your hands down to the mat. Step back and travel through your flow. So it's upper push-up plank to lower push-up plank. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. And now the left side, inhale, raise the left leg up and back. Exhale, step it through in between your hands, dial the back foot down, and then root to rise, warrior one. This time, we'll bump left hip back, right hip forward so that we can square our hips off towards the front of the room. Keep that back leg really, really straight and strong. Use that as a power source. And then inhale to lengthen through the spine. Exhale to sit a little bit lower and maybe deepen your pose. Biceps by the ears. Inhale to reach up, look back. Take your mini back bend. Then exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back and travel through your flow. Once you reach downward facing dog, we'll take our first one breath, one movement of the class. Warrior one on the right side and warrior one on the left side. And this is an opportunity to use your breath as the only measure of time here. There is no rush, no needing to keep up with your neighbor, no needing to keep up with yourself. Just use your inhales to rise, your exhales to move again. Really nice, everyone. If you're still moving, keep moving. There's no rush. If you're in your downward facing dog, or if the breath allows you, exhale everything out, SH. Take a big inhale. And exhale, let it go, HA. Nice. Take an inhale, raise the right leg up and back. Exhale, step it through in between your hands, dial the back foot down and rise up, warrior one. On your exhale, peel open into your warrior two. So spread your arms really, really far apart from each other. It's almost as if you're coming parallel to your side walls, or your, maybe you don't have walls, but you're coming parallel with your sides. Square your hips open towards the side of the room. Keep the front knees stacked directly over the front ankle. And then again, tuck in your tailbone so that you can lengthen through your spine. Send your gaze over your right shoulder. Spread your fingertips really, really far apart from each other, almost as if someone were playing tug of war with you. Then take an exhale to sit a little bit lower in your lunge, because you just did. Really nice, Monique. Take an inhale, lengthen. And then an exhale, really slowly cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Step back and travel through your flow. Once you're in your downward facing dog, inhale, raise the left leg up and back. Exhale, step it through in between your hands. Dial the back foot down. And then rise up into your warrior one. When your exhale comes, heel open into your warrior two. And maybe it might help you here if you take a longer stance so that you can sit a little bit lower in your lunge. Square your hips off towards the side of the room. And really, really reach through the fingertips. Maybe you try flexing your palms up towards the fingertips, towards the sky. You might feel a little bit more of an intense stretch through here through your pericardium line. This is just you opening your heart. If you haven't already, maybe you try closing your eyes. Take one more inhale to lengthen and an exhale to stay and sit a little bit lower in your lunge. One more breath here. And then exhale, cartwheel your hands down, step back, and travel through your flow. And then again, once you're in downward facing dog, we'll take this one breath, one movement. Again, warrior one on the right side, warrior two on the right side, flow. And then warrior one, warrior two on the left side. And if you haven't already, maybe you try closing your eyes because you just did these poses. So you know exactly what they're supposed to look like, quote unquote, supposed. Now just notice if you can take a second to experience what they feel like, because when you close your eyes, you have no choice but to bring your focus internally. What do you see when you're not attached to sight? Really nice work, everyone. If you're still flowing, keep flowing. If the breath allows you, exhale everything out, S-H. Take a big inhale, reset. And exhale, let it go, H-A. Take an inhale, look in between your hands. This time, maybe you try hopping towards the front of the mat. Use your hips to lead you, and then hang heavy in your forward fold. Take a look in between your feet. Measure them about hips width distance. So if you want to do this, take two fists and then place them in between the arches of your feet so that you're making like the capital letter H. Then inhale, reset your spine, half lift, lengthen through the crown of head. Then exhale, let it go, forward fold. On your next inhale, everybody's favorite pose, hips low, arms high, chair pose. So this is probably your first pose, the first chair pose of the day. So bring your knees a little bit further back so that you can see your toes. Bring the weight onto your heels. And then exhale to sit a little bit lower. Tuck your tailbone in so that you can lengthen your spine and your core is engaged here. Bring the biceps by the ears so that you can open your heart. It's almost as if there's a mini back bend, but it's at the upper part of your back. And then just stay here. Try to straighten out the arms. Lengthen and reach through the fingertips. Really nice adjustment, Anne. Take one more breath here and then exhale, let it go. Forward fold. Maybe you pedal out one leg, pedal out the other. Maybe you just shake it out a little bit. And then without giving it too much thought, let's come right back into your chair pose. Hips low, arms high. Use your muscle memory to come right back into where you just were. If not, maybe sit a little bit lower in this chair pose because you just did. Bring the biceps by the ears. And then sit a little bit lower. You reaching your arms forward is balancing you here so that you don't fall back. And you're sitting your hips lower is balancing you so that you don't fall forward. And if you do fall, you're like 2 feet off the ground, so it won't really hurt you. Take one more inhale here to stay. And an exhale to stay. One more breath, you've got this. And then exhale, let it go, forward fold. Really nice. Okay, and then most of you know what's coming. Hips low, arms high. Last and final chair pose. Maybe this time you sit a little bit lower because it's your last chair pose. So maybe you did all that you've got now. Now that you know your foundation, maybe you can start to deepen into your pose. And these deepening adjustments are so minuscule that you can't really see them. Only you can feel them. So press the outer soles of your feet, almost as if you were going to rip your mat in half. You can feel your thighs and your glutes really light up here if you haven't felt them already. And then take an exhale to stay and sit a little bit lower in your chair. Keep the biceps by the ears. Fingertips reach up towards the ceiling or the sky. One more breath. And then exhale, let it go. Forward fold. Really nice. You just did that at 9 a.m. or 6 a.m., which is great. Take an inhale, half lift. Reset your spine. And then plant your palms down to the mat. Step back. And travel through your flow. Maybe you hop back. If you're hopping back, make sure to land with your elbows bent so that you can protect your joints. Once you're in your downward facing dog, take an inhale, raise the right leg up and back. Exhale, step it through in between your hands, dial the back foot down and rise up into your warrior one. On your exhale, peel open into your warrior two. Now in your warrior two, really take the time to set up your foundation, go into your fullest expression of it right away. Don't worry about how long you're going to be sitting here. Then flip the front palm up towards the sky. Keep your hips exactly where they are, and then inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reach back, reverse warrior. Now your backhand can either go placed on your shin or your thigh, but avoid placing it on your knee. If you have the space in your shoulders, maybe you bring the back arm behind your back and towards your front thigh and use this to lift yourself up and away from your thigh. Take an exhale to sit a little bit lower in your lunge and an inhale to reach through the fingertips. And then on your exhale, really slowly cartwheel your hands down. Step back and travel through your flow. We'll meet in a warrior two on the left side. From your warrior two, really sit low in that front lunge. And then keep your hips exactly where they are. Flip the front palm up towards the ceiling. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, reach back. Keep that length through your left side body so that it's not really a back bend, but more of a side body stretch. And again, your backhand either on your shin or your thigh, but avoid placing it on your knee. Or you can wrap it back behind your back. Use this to push out of your thigh. Send your gaze towards your fingertips. Take one more inhale to reach up. Leave it a little bit back. And then exhale, really gracefully cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Step back and travel through your flow. Once you're in your downward facing dog, it's the last and the longest one breath, one movement of the class. So it's warrior one, warrior two, reverse warrior. On the right and on the left side. Or maybe you choose to make it on the left and on the right side. Maybe you shake things up a little bit. I inhale, I move. I exhale, I move again. Our breaths are one of the internal bodily forces that we actually have full control over, which is pretty cool if you really think about it. And you can use this breath to slow down your heartbeat, to maybe take a second to just calm yourself down. The breath is sometimes much more powerful than we can even understand. Really nice. If you're still flowing, keep flowing. There's no rush. If you're in your downward facing dog, exhale all your air out. SH. Take a big inhale. Use it to reset. Really let it light you up. And then exhale, HA. Really nice. Inhale, raise the right leg up and back. Exhale, step it through in between your hands. Dial the back foot down and then pause here. Pent up on your fingertips and then take a second to square your hips off towards the front of the room first. Then on your inhale, rise up only 45 degrees, arms back by your sides, palms facing down, power line. Keep your back leg really straight and strong so that you have it as a power source. There's one strong straight line from your heel to the crown of your head. Now bring your pinkies really, really close to one another so that they might just touch. When they do, interlace your hands at the base of your spine and use this to open your heart. Bring your knuckles down towards the corner of the wall. Almost as if you're going to punch a hole through it. Take an inhale to open your heart. And an exhale, send your arms long out in front of you. Biceps by the ears, extended power lunge. Take a second here to exhale everything out, SH. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, heel open, warrior two. And again, maybe you take a longer stance here so that you can really take up space. Send your gaze towards your front palm. And then exhale, right arm down, left arm up, side angle. Use this elbow to knee connection so that you can keep your chest open. Then on your exhale, drop the bicep by the ear, fingertips face towards the front of the room, extended side angle. Keep your chest parallel towards the side of the wall as much as possible. Remind the weight into your right foot. And then on your inhale, bring the bottom arm up to become parallel with the top where your core strengthens. Maybe you start to tremble here, and that's okay. It just means that you're growing. Take an inhale, really reach through the fingertips. And then exhale, left arm down, right arm up, revolve your side angle. And again, maybe you take a shorter stance here so that you can square your hips off towards the front of the room and then really twist from your spine rather than from your hips. If balance is with you, maybe you send your gaze up towards your top fingertips. Take one more inhale here and then exhale. Place your hands down to the inside of your foot. So now your mat reads pom-pom foot. Take your right hand, thread it underneath your right thigh and grab for your ankle. You hold hands with yourself at your ankle. Use your exhales to round out your spine. Bring your nose closer to your belly button. Maybe one day you bring your right shoulder underneath your right knee. Maybe one day you bring your entire head underneath your leg. And again, try to keep your hips squared off towards the front of the room as much as possible here. And then just breathe. On your next inhale, slowly unravel. Come back into your side angle. So right arm down, left arm up. And then maybe you go for your bind. So drop the top arm down behind your back. Maybe you go for your half bind and you stay here if this feels like enough. Or maybe you go for your full bind and you hold hands with yourself underneath your leg. If you have your full bind, use this grip to really open up your heart towards the ceiling. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands down, step back, and travel through your flow. Really beautiful work, everyone. I know that side angle one is always a little bit challenging, but you've got this. Left side now, inhale, raise the left leg up and back. Exhale, step it through in between your hands. Dial the back foot down and then pause. Tent up on your fingertips so that you can square your hips off towards the front of the room. And then inhale, rise up only 45 degrees. Arms back by your sides, palms facing down. Now bring your shoulder blades together, almost as if there was a pencil in between them. And then whenever your pinkies come really close to one another, interlace your hands at the base of your spine and take an inhale to open your heart. On your next exhale, arms long out in front of you, biceps by the ears, extended power lunge. And you have one strong straight line with your body from your heel towards your fingertips. Take an inhale to reach long and an exhale, SH to stay. Inhale, rise up into your warrior one. Exhale, peel open, warrior two. And again, don't worry about how long you're going to be in this stance. Go into your fullest expression of it right away. Don't underestimate yourself. Send your gaze towards your left fingertips and then exhale, left arm down, right arm up, side angle. And use this knee to elbow connection so that you can push your chest open towards the side. Send your gaze up towards your top fingertips. Your top arm is stacked directly over your bottom arm. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, bicep by the ear, fingertips towards the front of the room, extended side angle. Now, remind the weight into your left foot. Take an inhale, bring the bottom arm up to become parallel with the top. It's almost as if you're holding a really big beach ball in between your hands and you don't want to drop it. Take one more inhale, really spiral your chest parallel to the wall. And then exhale, right arm down, left arm up, revolve your side angle. And I really like to take a shorter stance here because it helps me keep my hips squared, but you do whatever feels comfortable for you. If balance is with you, you send your gaze up towards your left fingertips. Take one more inhale here. Then exhale, bring your palm down towards the inside of your foot. Go for your ankle bind. So thread your left arm underneath your left thigh. Hold hands with yourself at your left ankle. Use your exhales to really round out the spine, bringing nose closer to belly button. And on your next exhale, keep your left arm down, right arm up, come back into your side angle. Drop the top arm down behind your back. Maybe you go for your half bind if this is enough for you today. Maybe you go for your full bind if you feel like going for it today. Take one more inhale here. Open your heart. And exhale, cartwheel your hands down, step, step back, and travel through your flow. Really beautiful work, everyone. Now, once you're in your downward facing dog, take an inhale, look in between your hands, and then float towards the front of your mat. Hang heavy in your forward folds. Bring your attention towards your feet and then bring them to touch so you have one strong straight leg underneath you. Take an inhale, half lift, reset the spine. And exhale, forward fold. On your next inhale, send your hips low, arms high, palms pressed, thunderbolt. So it's almost like your chair pose, except this time your palms are pressed at the top. If you can, maybe you bring your biceps by the ears, but keep your arms straight. If your arms start to bend when you bring your biceps by the ears, then just keep them a little bit out in front of you. That's okay too. Exhale, sit a little bit lower in your chair. Inhale to open your heart. And exhale, let it go. Forward fold. And on your next inhale, come right back into your thunderbolt. You know just how to set it up. Palms pressed at the top. interlace only at your thumbs. So really use your biceps to keep your palms pressed together. Take an inhale to open your heart and an exhale to bring your palms down through heart center. Take an inhale, puff up the chest. Exhale, twist to the right, left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Try to keep the knees in line with one another so that you're twisting from your spine again and not from your hips. Use your exhales to bring your palms to heart center. Then maybe you fly away or bind if the breath is with you. Take an inhale to look up through your shoulder. Then exhale, slowly come back through center. Stay strong here. And then exhale, twist to the left, right elbow on the outside of the left knee. Hips lower than heart, heart lower than head here. Then if you wish to go into your thunderbolt, if you wish to go into your bind or fly away, then you may do so. You don't have to wait for me to cue it. Take an inhale to look up through your top arm, then slowly come back through center. Strong moment here. Inhale, stand up, reach up, look back, go for your back bend. Then exhale, bring it back down, forward fold. Really nice. Inhale, half lift, reset your spine. Then exhale, point your palms down to the mat, step back into an upper push-up plank, and then pause here. So we're gonna take 3 sets of yogi push-ups. If that sounds like the worst idea that you've ever heard before in your entire life, maybe you put your knees onto the mat, that's fine too, you're still doing the work. If not, create one strong straight line with your body. Your core is engaged, head is lifted. Take an inhale to push the mat away. Exhale, lower halfway down. Inhale, push the mat away. Exhale, lower 2/3 of the way down. Take an inhale, push the mat away. Exhale, lower and hover 2 inches above the mat, and then hover for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, push the mat away. And then exhale, travel through your flow. Really nice work, everyone. That was really strong. Okay, now last bit of effort before we start to slow things down. So if you haven't already, maybe you've given it all you've got. Take an inhale, raise the right leg up and back, Exhale, step it through in between your hands. This time, keep your back heel lifted. So you're balancing on the most ballpoint part of your foot, and then inhale, rise up into your crescent lunge. Biceps by the ears, pinkies face one another so that you can relax the shoulder blades down the back. And then inhale, press the palms together at the top. Exhale, bring them down to heart center. Take an inhale to open your chest. And then exhale, twist to your right. Left elbow on the outside of the right knee, just like you did in your thunderbolts. And again, use this knee to elbow connection to really twist through your spine. Maybe you send your gaze up towards the ceiling if balance is with you, or maybe you fly away or bind if balance is with you. Really nice, Stacia. Take one more inhale here. Then exhale, palms come back to center. Inhale to reach up, look back. Maybe you take your back bend. And then exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back and travel through your flow. Once you're in your downward facing dog, we've got the left side to go. So inhale, raise the left leg up and back. Exhale, step it through in between your hands. Keep the back heel really, really lifted. And then inhale to rise up into your high crescent lunge. The longer of a stance you take here, the lower you are towards your mat, and the closer you are towards the mat, the easier it is to balance here. Take an inhale to press the palms together at the top, and then exhale, bring them down to heart center. Take an inhale to open your heart, then exhale, twist to the left, right elbow on the outside of the left knee. Use your exhales to press your palms down to heart center, and then if breath is with you, maybe if balance isn't with you, you still fly away or bind. Because again, the worst that could happen is you fall and you're not really that far off from the ground, so you'll be okay. Take one more inhale, look up through your top arm. Then exhale, slowly come back through center, palms pressed. Inhale, reach up, look back. Then exhale, place your hands down to the mat, step back, and travel through your flow. And we'll take a collective breath here just to come together and sort of reset. So exhale everything out, S-H. Become really, really empty. Take an inhale, fill up your belly. And exhale, let it go, H-A. Take an inhale, raise the right leg up and back. And exhale, swing it through for your half pigeon. So right knee on the outside of the right shoulder. And before you start to lower down, take a second to square your hips onto the mat first. Really lengthen through your back leg. And then if this is enough, stay here. If you feel like maybe you can obtain a deeper stretch here, then you start to bring your top shin more parallel towards the front of your mat. And then slowly you start to come down. Maybe you come down to your fingertips. Maybe you come down onto your forearms. Or maybe you bring your entire body completely flat onto the mat. Wherever you are, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that you try to release something. We've spent the majority of this class trying to resist gravity. Now see how quickly you can just submit to gravity. Just surrender to it. And I find sometimes myself that in this pose, I start to clench my fist for some reason. I open up my hips, but I bring tension elsewhere. So see if maybe you can take a second to notice if you've brought tension to a different part of your body. And then use your exhales to just let that go, because it's not really serving you here. And these poses of release are a great time to take those vibrational breaths. So exhale everything out, S-H. Take a big, fullest inhale you've taken yet. And exhale, let it go, H-A. Begin to make your exhales a lot longer. When you exhale, you find moments and sort of opportunities to release. Maybe sinking a little bit further onto your mat. And see if you can bring stillness into this pose that honestly feels like so much going on sometimes. Once you feel like you kind of just want to get out of the pose, see if you could take a second to just stay. Because that's when the pose really starts working. And really, really slowly begin to peel yourself off your mat. Maybe you take some kind of counter stretch if it's in your practice. Maybe you step back and travel through a flow. Or maybe you just meet back in down dog. From your downward facing dog, take an inhale, raise the left leg up and back. And exhale, swing it through for your half pigeon. Keeping your left knee on the outside of your left shoulder. And square your hips off towards your mat before you start to lower down. Really either flex or point the left foot, whichever it is, choose one so that you can protect your knee. And remember that right and left side body sometimes feel completely different, and that's totally normal. So if you might feel some kind of pain or pinching here on your knee, you can take a figure 4, and if you don't know what that looks like, I'm going to demonstrate it on the camera. If not, you can just go into your half pigeon. For figure 4, you want to cross your left knee over your right, and then start to bring your knees closer towards your chest. You get the same kind of stretch here. Wherever you are, see if you can sink a little bit further onto your mat. And we took a vibrational breath on the other side, so we'll take one here too. Exhale everything out, S-H. Inflate your belly like it's a balloon. And then exhale, let it go, H-A. Take a comfortable inhale. And then exhale, let it go, H-M. And remember that no one on this Zoom chat can hear you, so feel free to be as loud and take as many vibrational breaths as you need to here. See if you can really start to sink a little bit further down onto your mat. And notice what happens when you want to get out of it and you choose to just take another breath. What happens after that next exhale? Really, really slowly start to come up out of your half pigeon, almost as if you didn't want to. Then maybe you take a counter stretch if you took it on the other side. Maybe you take your flow, or maybe you just meet us all in down dog. From your downward facing dog, roll forward into an upper push-up plank. And we're gonna work our biceps just a little bit more. We're gonna lower down really, really slowly on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2.5, 2, 1. Keep your biceps long out in front of you. Palms face one another, top of chin on the mat. We're gonna go for a superhuman pose. So use your exhales to root your hips down onto your mat. And then on your inhale, lift everything else up for your superhuman pose. Try to keep your legs together if possible. And then the only way that you can actually stay here is if you breathe. So take an inhale to reach up and an exhale to stay. Take one more inhale, lift 1 inch of your body off the floor. And then exhale, let it go. Favorite ear to the mat, arms back by your sides. Maybe you bring a little bend into your elbows so that you can melt your shoulders onto the mat. See if you can just surrender into rest. See if you can trust that you deserve this rest simply because you've done enough And I don't just mean in this 60-minute Vinyasa class. I mean throughout your entire life, whatever you have done is enough. Top of chin on the mat, biceps by the ears. We're going to take one more superhuman pose. Use your exhales to root your hips onto your mat, and your inhale, lift everything else up, biceps by the ears. Really reach as if you were flying through the sky, but actually you realize it's not as fun as you thought. Take one more inhale, lift 1 inch off the body, really nice angel. And then exhale, let it go, opposite ear to the mat. Arms back by your sides. Maybe you windshield wipe your legs side to side if you want to sort of relax your lower back here. Nice. Whenever you're ready, slowly flutter your eyes open and come to standing on your knees. We're going to take a camel's pose. So for camel's pose, place your knees about hips width distance. And again, if you want to measure this, you could just take your 2 fists, place it in between your knees. Then place your hands on your lower back, fingertips facing towards your butt, and then bring your elbows close to one another so that you can open your heart. Then drop your head back. You're in your camel's pose here, so if you want to stay here, feel free to do so. If you want to keep going further back, keep pushing your hips forward using your thighs and your glutes. If you see the back wall or maybe the floor, maybe you grab for your ankles. Thumbs on the outside, fingertips on the inside, but keep your heart lifted. And remember, the only way that you can stay in this pose is if you breathe. Take one more inhale. And then slowly bring your hands back to your lower back. And come to sitting on your heels for your hero's pose. Right away, maybe you take a second to just close your eyes. And notice what it does to your body when you come into stillness so quickly. Maybe you take this second of stillness to appreciate something that you are grateful for. And I am in no position to tell you what you should be grateful for, but what I do know is that you just made it through a 60-minute Vinyasa class. And that in itself is amazing. And slowly flutter your eyes open. Swing your legs long out in front of you. We're going to take a seated forward fold. So for your seated forward fold, take an inhale to reach your arms up and lengthen through your spine. And an exhale, bend your knees so that you can catch your feet. Once you catch your feet, maybe you take your inhale to lengthen through your spine and your exhales to become a little bit closer towards yourself. If you want more of a stretch in your hamstrings, maybe you start to straighten out the legs. Keeping the length in your spine, using your inhales to find space, and your exhales to deepen, coming a little bit closer towards yourself. And slowly start to come up out of it. Bring your butt towards the center of the mat if it isn't there already. And we're going to lower down really, really slowly. So lengthen your arms out by your sides. Keep a little bit of a bend in your knee. And then really slowly on the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come to laying flat onto your mat. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Maybe you take a second to rock side to side so that you can decompress your spine from that camel's pose. Then press the soles of your feet together. For your supine butterfly pose, try to bring your feet closer towards your heart. Then grab the outer soles of your feet from the outside edges and then come into your happy baby. And again, make this pose really playful. Maybe you rock side to side, straighten one leg, straighten out the other. Do whatever feels good here. Use your exhales to maybe bring your knees a little bit closer towards the ground. Maybe one day they touch the ground. Maybe that one day is today. And whenever you're ready, you can either come to laying completely flat onto your mat for your final pose, Shavasana, or maybe you take a shoulder stand and a plow if it's in your practice. Maybe you have a different way of sealing off your practice. Whatever it is, take the time to do what your body is asking for now. Then we'll all come together collectively into our final pose, corpse pose. Maybe you bring your feet about the distance of your mat. Take the time to set up this pose with as much care and compassion as you set up all your other poses. And just let your body completely melt and sink onto your mat. We'll end class with a quote, a collective breath, and then I'll talk you out of Shavasana. But first, a couple of announcements. Yoga to the People always has been and always will be donation-based. Suggested donation is $12. If you can donate, then thank you so much. If you can't physically donate any money right now, then that's okay. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for coming onto your mat today. Spread the word, share it with your friends, post it on Instagram, maybe tag us. And another really exciting news is that we have an online teacher training coming up. So maybe if this is something that you've been wanting to do for a while, but maybe haven't found the time for it, this online practice is a great way to do so. And it has inevitably, undoubtedly changed my entire life. So if you're thinking about it, then just do it. Today's quote is by Rumi. She says, "Stop acting so small. You are the universe in ecstatic motion." And exhale your entire breath out, S-H. Take an inhale, become really, really full. Deepest breath yet. And then exhale, H-A. And you can either stay in Shavasana as long as you'd like to, as long as you're able to. If you have time, I highly, highly recommend you do. And if not, maybe you start to roll onto your side and come to a seated posture.